So the first thing I want to talk about today is that Jesus is trending.
Yeah.
Jesus is trending. If we look at the culture's topics, Jesus is right there at the top, as he always has. It doesn't surprise me that he's trending. Whether good or bad reasons, Jesus is always trending. Whether someone is affirming him as God, like Kanye is with his new album calling it Jesus is King.
Yeah.
Or whether someone is trying to disprove his existence or just anything in between there. But Jesus is trending. And as we're going to be talking about celebrities claiming Christ and, coming to Christ, yet we're still like, they really saved. We got to realize that even the disciples' lives weren't on display like some of these celebs are, right? And we got a pretty bad picture of the disciples from the Gospels. Imagine if their life was really on display. Imagine if they had behind the scenes cameras following the disciples as they followed Jesus. I bet you the Sons of Thunders were beefing with people. I guarantee Peter was trying to act like he knew everything, and he really didn't. Judas was probably slipping off in the middle of the night to do things with the money. Who knows what he was doing, man? That was Rome. That was Rome that they were near, and like they were traveling all through. And anyway,
what's fascinating about the Bible too, it doesn't hold back on the key people in the scriptures.
Right.
It exposes their weakness, man.
Yeah.
It's just yeah.
So we got to realize that even the disciples' lives weren't on display like some of these celebs, right? Yet they're over criticized, in my opinion, and every move is analyzed and scrutinized. And again, I got to ask the question I asked earlier: how encouraging and helpful is that? If you're first coming to Christ and they're over analyzing everything you're doing, I just don't think that's a good environment for a new convert to be in. Whether someone believes that they're a new convert or not, that's not a good environment. It really isn't. So I could definitely sympathize on that end of it.
Yeah.
It's not very encouraging. And guess what? You're probably going to want to go towards the people that may not tell you the truth, because they're going to have a lot of good things to say to block out all the scrutiny that you're feeling. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So thank God that I wasn't. Thank God that you weren't followed around the way that some of these Christian celebs are. And I thank God that I'm not judged so severely, even today, if they follow me around. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just thank God that I don't have the cameras on me like they do. I wanted to say that before we get into this Christianity in the lives of the celebs. We also got to remember that a lot of them are so used to pouring out and providing entertainment for people, but they're not always being poured into at the same time, and that can be draining. You know that as a pastor, that can be very draining whenever you're always pouring and giving, but never being poured into. And if they are being poured into, it may not even be challenging them, because sometimes some of these guys' minds are on a whole nother level, and some of the people around them just may not have it. You know what I mean? And at that point, really only God can really get through to them sometimes.
Yeah.
And that's with any person, really. Also want to say that people think making good music or hearing good music is a person's cure to their sin problem, right? A lot of times people say, especially with these musicians, if they just started making clean music or listening to it at least, that would help the situation out.
Yeah.
But again, music is just medicine, man. Music is just medicine. It's not the cure. You can live off of meds your whole life and still be sick.
Right. Yeah.
So I did want to bring that up
it's
before we really.
It has, but it's not going to deal with the core issue.
No, it's not the cure at all. So those are things I wanted to bring up.
I think that's probably some of the problems too, when someone who's recognized, famous singer or musician or MC, rapper, that they all of a sudden see their music as something probably that it's not.
Yeah.
Because that's all they know, that's all they have. But music is a powerful tool, but that's what it is. It's a tool. It's not meant to You know what I'm saying? It's not the means of salvation.
Yeah.
You know, it's a tricky thing. I think to help someone, and that's why I think when a celebrity comes to Christ or professes faith, I was telling this to Abner the other day. My question is, why don't y'all tuck yourself away at a local church, you know, and grow with people, get discipled, you know?
Yeah.
And we'll get into that later, but
Yeah.
I think that's, you know, a fair question. Why not?
Wow.
You know?
Yeah. I also think that it's crazy that, like, we always want our favorite artists to get saved or come to Christ.
Yeah.
It's almost like we want to save our idols.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're our favorite secular artists, and we can't really listen to them anymore because now we're Christian. But if they got saved, then I can still have them as my idol.
Yeah.
And so it's like we want the best of both worlds. We want our idol to be in our life still, that now that we're saved, but we want our idol to also become saved.
Right.
And it's not for like their sole purpose, like their own soul's benefit that they get saved. It's just so that we can still listen to them. A lot of times when it comes to our musicians, and you know, at the same time, just because someone changes what they say, it doesn't mean that they've been changed in who they are.
Yeah, anybody could do that.
Yeah.
You know, anybody could change what they say, but a changed heart, only God could do that.
Yeah.
And once God changes a heart, there's evidence for that. You know, and that's the difference. So I'm not looking at what you can do with your music or your movies or whatever it is. I'm not looking at your gifts. I'm looking at your obedience.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Your changed heart. And that's going to come out. It will come out. I mean, you know, and that's why it takes time for us to really weigh, you know, what's going on.
Yeah. We get excited over superficial conversions. You ever notice that?
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll see like one little thing. Oh my gosh, he said that God is real.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh
crazy.
Man. I'm so excited. And it's like, all right, man, wait. Why don't we examine this a little bit further? Why do we have to be so naive and just take everything that they say as true?
Yeah.
You know? So I wanted to bring up some like some artists that claim to be Christian, and obviously, guys, we could go on a whole list of people that have done this, but I just wanted to name some that we knew in a more personal way because we listened to their music, we were fans of them.
Yeah.
And when they said these things, we were like, what? Oh my gosh. I'm sure you got excited at some of these names. I know I was excited at some of these names that I'm about to mention whenever I seen their name in the headline and that they came to Christ.
Well, yeah, it depends on who they were. Like some of them, it was just like,
Okay.
I wonder what they're thinking, or what are they actually trying. I was more, you know, suspicious about.
A little skeptical. Yeah.
You know?
It seemed a little suspect. I got you. So there were some questionable faith guys. Wait, I changed it from Christian to faith. What does that mean? Oh, I see. So yeah, there was some questionable faith guys. We have KRS-One. Now, see, KRS-One is a little bit older, so I never knew until years later that he was claiming Christianity at one point, just to find out that he really wasn't a Christian.
Yeah.
Maybe he was at one point, but he definitely isn't Christian now.
Yeah, his album Spiritual Minded, I remember when it came out in 2002, and I think rumor had it, or it was a confirmed story, that he asked Cross Movement to be on it.
Okay.
And they said no.
Yeah.
And they got...
Well, they just talked about that on...
Oh, did they?
They just talked about that on their podcast.
Okay, yeah. So, yeah, I remember that. I remember when they did that, and I was like, yo, that's what's up. You know, I thought that was dope that they took that stance.
That's what's up.
But I remember that was a big deal, like, you know, because Christian hip-hop didn't get no love like that back in the day. You know? It's not like it is now, but I remember, and I listened to it. I actually listened to the album twice. T-Bone actually featured on it, and others. But yeah, it was just like, nah, this ain't
for me, dog.
Nah. You could tell right away, man. Again, I'm looking for the heart. I'm not looking for the content.
Yeah.
I'm not looking at what you're saying. I'm looking at your soul. Like, and so time will tell. You know what I'm saying? But I didn't buy it. It was just like, you know, Kara's typical, like, you know what I'm saying? Just going off of the vibe he was feeling at the time. And his first album, Criminal Minded, this was like his 10th album, I think, which was Spiritual Minded. So he wanted to show this, you know, this evolving, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't buy it.
Lauryn Hill.
That one was tough for me.
Yo, it still is.
That one was tough for me.
It's still tough for me because I still wonder, like,
Yeah.
Because some of the stuff she was saying was like, yo.
Especially the live.
Yeah, when she did the live album for the MTV Unplugged
man.
album.
It was like,
yeah.
Wow.
How about Mace?
Mace was like, I'm an underground MC, you know what I'm saying? So I was just like, I already had beef with Mace, you know, and P. Diddy and all those guys. So I was just like, I had my arms crossed. It was like, nah, that can't be.
Yeah.
Don't come over here and try to commercialize Christian hip hop. That's how I felt right away, you know. But nah, that one was funny to me too, and I didn't have enough resources to know exactly what was going on. But then later on, he came back out again and did his thing. You know, it was just like,
yeah. DMX.
That one was tough.
That one was tough too, because
it
sounded like he was giving some real prayers on his album.
Yeah, and even in concerts.
And I thank you, Jesus, for saving my soul.
Yeah. I mean, he was
when I was lost in the dark.
Yo, you did that.
And I was out in them holes. Holes.
Explain.
Make sure you guys heard that right.
Yeah. But nah, that one was tough because just how he prayed on stage, and it just looked real.
Yeah.
But then it was just like, huh.
Yeah,
you
man.
know, like, I don't know.
Even that song when he was like, Lord, give me a sign. Remember that?
Right. Yeah.
That song right there, I was like, yo.
Yeah, a lot of what he said was packed with a lot of spiritual terminology, you know what I'm saying? Like, and it sounded so real.
Yeah, and you know what?
I don't know if
I was a teenager too, so like when I've heard all that stuff going on in my mind, and I wasn't living for Christ at all. I was just a teenager listening to music. My favorite artists were Jay-Z, Kanye West, Ludacris, and all those guys. And then I heard DMX on the other side of things that had more of a spiritual vibe. Maybe the same way that somebody might have heard KRS-One and was like, wait, this is different. Yeah. And to hear him go from, because his nickname stands for Dark Man X, to hear him go from those darker songs to Lord, give me a sign, I was like, I was like, yo, is he really becoming a Christian? Yeah. And I was like, yes, because then I can get his album and my parents ain't going to get mad at me for listening to DMX no more.
Right.
Again, I just wanted my favorite idols to become Christians so that I could benefit from it. Denzel Washington. When I heard he was a Christian, I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
It's like the Book of Eli.
Yeah, there was a couple things in there. There was a scripture in there, and then just what the whole, you know what I'm saying, movie meant. It was just like, wow. But then I saw the book beside other other books. Yeah. I saw the Bible with
at the end. Books. At the end, right?
It's like
at the end they messed that up, yo.
I was just like, what are y'all trying to say? Because it was packed with a lot of like
a lot of symbolic
and things. I was just like, okay.
To this day, you know what? A lot of those artistic guys, they throw a lot of vague stuff out there so that people can look at it however they want, and then they get claimed to be geniuses because they put like a whole bunch of vague stuff out there. I'll even throw in a Justin Bieber. Recently, a couple years ago, I heard Justin Bieber got saved, and I looked into it, and I was like, wait, what? And I saw him going around with that pastor from Hillsong Church.
Yep.
The cool guy with like the really nice clothes and the glasses.
Yeah.
The pretty boy. What's his name?
I don't know. I forgot.
But I can't remember his name, but he's a pastor from Hillsong. You've seen him everywhere whenever it happened. Like Justin and his pastor were together, and the pastor claimed that, Justin wanted to come to Christ. He started coming to church, and then the pastor let Justin stay with him for like months on end just so he can get away from the spotlight, because the pastor said, which is what we're talking about, is that these celebs don't need to be in the spotlight when they're coming to Christ. It's just, it's not conducive for them trying to follow Christ. And so he let him stay in his home for months.
I mean, yeah.
Now, I don't know what he did with that time.
Yeah.
But I see a certain point that I agree with.
Carl Lentz, that's the guy's name.
Carl Lentz. You just looked it up?
Well, somebody posted it.
Okay.
Yeah. I would put in quotations, pastor. That's me. Yeah.
Yo, Christina did not have to come at the back. He looks nice. I was giving him. He always is fly, yo. I was always giving him.
Who?
Chris.
Oh.
Okay. Carl Lentz. He look. He's always fly.
Yeah,
now some of the clothes. Some of the clothes is like, but he's always. It always seems like he got a nice pair of shades on, and I'm like, I want those. But anyway, throwing a Justin Bieber in there. I'll throw in a Barack Obama. Remember when he was like president at first, before people really found out that he was more on the Muslim side of things?
Yeah.
A lot of black people, because we wanted to support him so much, and a lot of black people are, at least in America, are just, they claim to be Christian. A lot of them just are naturally Christians. They were like, yeah, Barack Obama is a good God-fearing man. And so we were led to believe that he was a Christian. He would go in churches and he would go speak. And he had a lot of Christian, especially black Christian support down south.
Yeah.
They supported him the same way that we supported Martin Luther King. I'm not going to put Martin Luther King on this, but a lot of people would put him on this one right here, the questionable faith guy.
Right.
Where, you have somebody that's, their faith is questionable because of the things that they were doing.
Yeah.
Barack Obama, you could throw a Martin Luther King on there. Donald Trump. I had to go there. No, for real, I had to go there because come on, man. Like, he claims to be a Christian, and a lot of the conservatives that voted for him are Christians, and they back him because they say he's Christian. Now they say he's a carnal Christian.
Well, some people back him strictly on the political tip, like he's pro-life. Some of the things he's done, but I don't see any fruit of the spirit. Especially self-control.
Grabbing people in places that he shouldn't be grabbing them in, and
crazy.
Even the self-control with his mouth, like the things he says is like, yo, somebody take the mic from this dude, because he's messing up his whole campaign before he even got elected. Like, he was tripping. He still is tripping. What am I talking about?
To be fair, we're not assuming, we're not God. We can only look at fruit.
Right. We can only look at what the cameras give us and what the media is pushing.
Right.
Really, let's be honest here, guys.
Yeah.
We really only can look at what
that.
the media is pushing. So let's just pray that there's more honest and genuine media companies out there that are pushing real content, because a lot of them are pushing their own agendas, and they care more about profit than anything. Before we get into the comment section, I wanted to talk about a couple of these that are more legit professions of faith. I'm putting Chance the Rapper on here at the top of the list, not because he's the most legit in his faith, but because he's probably the most recent guy, other than Kanye West, to come out of rap and claim to be a Christian. And if you listen to his last album, which I didn't, but I heard reviews from people who did hear his album, and all of them pretty much said the same thing. He stopped rapping about a lot of the stuff he was rapping about before. He still does cuss a little bit. He still does talk about smoking weed. But this album is mostly focused, and a lot of people hated it because of this. This album is mostly focused on him learning how to love his wife. I guess it was something that he's never done before. So now he's in this stage where he wants to love his wife. And so I'm like, man, if there's any way that God is going to get to a man's heart, it's going to be by teaching him how to love his wife the right way. And it's going to start there. I saw him go on Instagram Live a couple months ago, and I was encouraged by it because he decided to get on Instagram Live. Nobody told him to do this. Well, at least from what I know. He comes out of nowhere, goes on Instagram Live, and says to his audience, I was raised in a Christian household. I was raised in a church, and I never got to learn what the Bible said for itself. I never got to learn and to have this faith for myself. So I want to learn what it is to really read the Bible and see what it says instead of just taking what people say. He said, so I'm going to read this right now out loud, and you guys can join in with me. He said, I want to encourage you guys to read the Bible as well.
Yeah.
And he read through the whole book of Galatians, which actually sparked me to get in Galatians, which actually sparked our men's group to get into Galatians. Yeah. So thanks, Chance. Nah, I'm messing. I'm thankful for that. There were a lot of people that stayed on the video and shared the video that actually were, God got the glory. Yeah. God got the glory.
Ultimately, I'm more on the more sober side with that, because if he tells people to open up their Bibles and they're doing that, but then he goes out again and starts doing whatever, then that's more damage.
It's more damage, but is it any different in it? I'm not trying to defend these guys at all, but again, remember what I said earlier. Imagine if we had the camera on some of these guys. Yeah. Like in our churches that are claiming to be Christians, and they go to their colleges and they tell people there that they're Christians, but then behind the scenes you find out that they're still going to college parties. They're still going to the campus parties. They're still hanging out with the same guys, and they're still struggling with leaving that life behind. Right. I'm not saying that Chance is the most legit, most best role model as a Christian, but there could be something that God is doing with that. Right. You know what I mean? That's all I'm saying. So I bring him up more as a legit profession of faith because I've seen better fruit from him than some of the other guys that we mentioned prior. Yeah. Brittany Lang makes a good point. She's feeling uncomfortable. No one wants to see what the first few years of my faith look like, and we are dangerously close to making judgments about salvation. Yes, we judge the fruit, but give the fruit time to grow. That's exactly what we're saying. You know what I'm saying? It depends on particularly who you're talking about. So I agree with that. And I think we talked about that earlier. At the end of the day, God is the one who knows ultimately. We can only judge the fruit, and it does take time, you know what I'm saying, for fruit to grow. Yeah, and I'm reading some of these comments. So we're just about to get to the comment section. So I'm reading some of them. I will clarify. This is a tough topic. Again, Chris, I'm looking at Chris's comment. It's a tough topic because we can't dive into all of these things. I wanted to mention them because these are things that we're talking about that you could go off on tangents about, right? Right. Like I want to make it clear, we're not saying no one is saved on this list or no one. What we're saying is we can judge by the fruit, and the fruit says this. You know what I'm saying? Right. That's right. So. And we will just stay tuned because we're going to get into this a little bit more. Okay. It is a tough topic, man. It is a tough topic. Let me go further with this though. No Malice, the guy from Clips. He was one of the rappers in Clips. Yeah. And at first, so many people had a problem with his profession of faith, his conversion story. His book is banging, by the way. You guys, if you haven't read his book, you need to read his book. I remember reading his book a couple years ago because I was skeptical about his faith. And my friend Gordon was like, just read his book and you'll get to know his thoughts on it more. Yeah. And when I heard and I read the book, I was like, yo, now I get it. Again, give these guys time to grow. And we'll find out whether or not they're legit. Yeah. These are things that I said again, like from the beginning of the episode. If we had a camera on all of us from the day one to like now, I guarantee people would be all on social media blasting us. Yeah, I mean, yeah. So No Malice, I think he's legit, by the way. If there's anybody on this whole list that I think is legit, for sure No Malice. I've heard more than enough from him to know, at least from my opinion, whether he's a legit Christian. And I could say similar things about Jin. Jin is another guy. That one, battle rapper turned Christian rapper. That looked real to me. Yeah. So